संस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ भूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
और समर्थ बनाओ। बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर, शुभ संदेश हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा। भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, 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 गीता परिवार हमारा।
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुराः पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं,
मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। संग्राममय जीवन धरा पर विजय रथ ले हम चले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। हो समर्पण लखन जैसा राम जैसा त्याग हो। भीष्म सा हो नियम पालन शौर्य में अभिमन्यु हो। आपदाओं को कुचल कर वीर बालक हम चले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। बुद्ध जैसे कारुणिक हो धीर हम महावीर से। ध्रुव जैसे निश्चयी सत्याग्रही प्रहलाद से। दुर्दम्य सारे संकटों में अग्निपथ पर भी खिले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। हनुमान से सेवाव्रती जिज्ञासु हो नचिकेत से। कर्मयोगी कृष्ण जैसे वीर हो हम पार्थ से। बलिदान गोविंद सिंह सहो स्वार्थ सारा ही चले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। देशभक्ति हो शिवासम प्रेम हो गौरांग सा। स्वाभिमान प्रताप सा हो तेज झांसी वाली सा। जलती शहीदों की चिता से हृदय में अंगार ले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। संग्राममय जीवन धरा पर विजय रथ।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी। बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots. Turn off notifications, click on that. Click on the mute option and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
सच्चिदानन्दम् वासुदेवम् व्रजप्रियम् धर्मसंस्थापकम् वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Jai Shri Krishna everyone. A very warm welcome to the Vivechan session of 18th chapter, Moksha Sannyas Yoga. It guides us on the path of selfless action and Shri Krishna's bhakti as pathway to liberation and freedom. Both the concepts of Tyaga and Sannyasa they are thrown light upon. With utter blessings and grace of Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Swamiji, Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, I would like to invite Srimati Smita Mule ji from Kalyan. She used to give home tuitions. She joined Geeta Pariwar in 2022. She likes reading, teaching, studying, music and spirituality. She's educated at MCom and she's giving Seva as trainer in Geeta Pariwar. Welcome Smita Didi.
जय श्री कृष्ण एवरीवन। प्रार्थना चालू करते हैं। वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्री कृष्ण वंदे जगद्गुरुं। जय श्री कृष्ण। Thank you so much.
Thank you Didi for this beautiful melodious prayer. Diya lighting is a pious act of praising divinity, knowledge and bliss of Shri Hari. For this, I would like to invite Poonam Gandhi ji from Bahamas near Florida, USA. She's educated as MBA Finance. She joined Geeta Pariwar in September 2024, has passed Geeta Jigyasu exam and giving Seva as co-trainer, technical assistant from L1 to L4, group coordinator in L2, trainer mentor in L1, and Gujarat online activity management like Hanuman Chalisa. Welcome Poonam Didi.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः।
Thank you Poonam Didi for this beautiful diya lighting. Before we proceed on to the main sessions, I have few announcements. The L4 grammar sessions, they start from tomorrow. And the new batch, the new Geeta learning batch, it starts from 13th of March. So do share this information and the links to joingeeta.com to all your near and dear ones who are interested to begin their spiritual journey. Our Geeta Sab Sevi Bano program in Hindi will be at 8:30 p.m. So those who are interested in Hindi, please pass on this information to them also. And those who are interested can attend this session. All the links will be shared in your respective groups. And now a little information for the participants. If you face any technical issues during the session, you can follow some of the suggestions that I am giving to you. If there is no sound, plug in the headphones, increase the volume of the phone or computer. If the chat box is blinking continuously, tap the bell icon at top right corner to mute the notifications. If the voice is breaking or cutting, check your internet connection. If possible, use Wi-Fi instead of mobile data. If the screen is not visible, you can click on the start video button on Zoom. If the screen is blurry, it happens due to slow internet speed. Try switching the network. If the Zoom keeps disconnecting, you can watch the session also via the YouTube link. If the Zoom suddenly closes, you can rejoin using the meeting link. These were some of the suggestions to help you out. Now let's proceed on to our main session. The scintillating star speaker of today is none other than Vikas Vaidya. He has been NRI for 12 years. He has traveled around the world, educated as BE Mechanical and postgraduate DBM. He owns a small IT company. He's based in Pune. He's a master of many languages like English, Hindi, Marathi, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish. Since last 5 years in his daily routine, he recites 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita daily. He's serving as co-trainer from L1 to L4 levels and also serving in trainer selection department from L1 to L4. He's fully involved in teaching and also Vivechan sessions of Vishnu Sahasranam as a member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. He's guiding Geeta Vratis to prepare for Sringeri Peet Geeta exam also. He has given Geeta Kanthastikaran exam at Sringeri Peet and received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagadguru Shankaracharya ji. The words will fall short in praise of Vikas Vaidya. Now I would like to invite him for today's Vivechan session.
वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण दीदी जय श्री कृष्ण to all. A warm welcome to all Gita Sadhak. We'll conclude the 18th adhyay today, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter, the last chapter of your L4 level. We'll conclude today. Therefore, at the end of session today, we will take a quick review of the entire Bhagavad Gita, right from Shlok 1, Dharma Kshetriya, Kurukshetriya, up to last Shlok 700 Shloka of Bhagavad Gita, as to understand in short and find out the important takeaways for us. The purpose of studying Gita should be, what are the takeaways for me? Isn't it? So that we'll try to cover in the last part of this session. Out of all the 700 shlokas, what are the takeaways for me? In short, we'll try to take all that review. So please be present till the end of the session and also request your near ones and dear ones to join the session at least for the last part of the session so that they will get a quick glimpse of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Okay, having said that, we'll start with today's Vivechan. Today's shloka, first shloka, 62nd. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. Sharanam, surrender exclusively, sarva bhavena. Surrender exclusively unto him with your whole being. O Bharata, that means O Arjuna, by his grace, tat prasadat, by his grace, you will attain perfect peace and eternal abode. Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. So being dependent upon God, the soul must also depend upon his grace to get out of the present predicament and attain the ultimate goal of life, which is attaining Paramatma. Self-effort will never suffice for this. You may keep trying, but it will not suffice for this. But if the God bestows his grace, one will attain eternal bliss and the imperishable abode. That is what God is saying in this shloka. However, to receive that grace, the soul must qualify itself by surrendering to God. God is only asking that you surrender to me, then I will bestow my grace on you. Even a worldly father will not hand over all his possessions to his child until the child becomes responsible enough to utilize it properly. So the God will check whether we are responsible enough to take the bestows of God or not. Similarly, the grace of God is not whimsical act of God. Kisi ko bhi de diya Shraddha, God's grace. God has a perfectly rational rules on the basis of which he bestows his grace. If the God does not follow this, and if he works abruptly, randomly, perfect faith in God's will break. Let us say that a father has two sons. Like God has many bhaktas. Let us say a father has two sons. He instructs both of them to work hard in the paddy field as it is cultivation season. One son, he toils and sweats it out in the blazing sun all day long. In the night, he returns and the father says, "Well done, my son, you are great. You are obedient. You are hardworking. I like that. You are loyal. Here is your reward. Take this 1000 rupees and enjoy. Do whatever you like." The second son does nothing. He lies in the bed all day long, sleeping, drinking, smoking, and sometimes even abusing the father. क्या काम पीछे लगा दिया है father ने? At night, suppose the father says to the second son that never mind, after all you are my son. Here is your 1000 rupees. Go and enjoy it yourself. What will happen? What will happen? The result of that will be the first son's motivation to work hard will get destroyed. He will say, if this is my father's reward system, then why should I work? I will also be doing nothing and I will also receive 1000 rupees. Why have to toil throughout the day in blazing sun? Likewise, if the God grants his grace without our qualifying for it, all those who became saints, they will complain to God, what is this God? We strived many lifetimes to purify ourselves and then we became recipient of God's grace. But this person received it without making himself eligible for it. Then our efforts of so many lifetimes were meaningless. God says, I don't behave in such irrational manner. I have an eternal condition based on which I bestow my grace. In this slok, Shri Krishna Bhagavan has reiterated the necessity of surrendering to God to receive his grace. Now, what is the meaning of surrender? Surrender means हाथ ऊपर करना क्या? Surrender, like the enemy soldiers will do to our soldiers, हम आपको surrender करते हैं. Is that surrender? This has been explained in Hari Bhakti Vilas, in Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu, and in Vayu Puran like this. First, they explain six aspects of surrender. Surrender has 6 aspects. First aspect, the desire to desire only in accordance with the desire of God. This is the first aspect. To desire only in accordance with the desire of God. By nature, we are all his servants. And the duty of the servant is to fulfill the desire of his master. Once we accept this relationship of master and servant, we have to fulfill all his desires. So as to surrender, the surrendered devotees of God, we must make sure that we confirm our will with the divine will of the God. A dry leaf is surrendered to the wind. It does not complain whether the wind is lifting it up or takes it forward or backward or drops on the ground also. Similarly, we too must learn to be happy in the happiness of God. So this is the first aspect of surrender. Second aspect of surrender, not to desire against the desire of God. Not to desire against the desire of God. Whatever we get in life is a result of our present and past karmas. However, the fruits of karmas do not come by themselves. God notes them down and gives the results at the appropriate time. Since God himself dispenses the results of our karmas, we must learn to serenely accept them. Usually, when people get wealth, fame, pleasure, or luxuries in the world, they would forget the God. They would forget to thank the God and consider them as of their own making. If they suffer, then they will blame God. ये क्या कर दिया आपने? Complaining, why did God do this to me? The second aspect of surrender means not to complain about whatever God gives to us. Third aspect of surrender is to have firm faith that God is protecting us. God is eternal Father. In 9th Adhyaya, God has said, Pita hamasya jagato mata dhata pita maha. Isn't it? So he takes care of all living beings in creation. He is Pita of all. There are trillions of ants on this planet Earth, trillions and trillions of ants, small ants, and all of them need to eat regularly. Do you ever see that lakhs of ants in your garden have died because of starvation? No, every ant is getting food every day, trillions of them. God ensures that they are all provided their food. On the other hand, the elephants eat huge amount of food every day. God provides them also. God provides in the form of milk in the breast of mother for the newly born. He's so much worried about every jiva. Even a worldly father cares and provides for his children. Why then should we doubt whether our eternal Father, God, will not take care of us? Why should we worry about it? To have firm faith in His protection for us is the third aspect of surrender. Fourth aspect of surrender, to maintain an attitude of gratitude towards the God. To maintain an attitude of gratitude towards God. We have received so many priceless gifts from God. We don't care, that is a different issue. But we have received so many priceless gifts from God. The earth that we walk upon, gift of God. The sunlight with which we see, gift of God. The air that we breathe, gift of God. And the water that we drink, these are all granted to us by God, all given to us by God. In fact, it is because of Him that we exist. He has brought to us, He had brought us to the life and imparted consciousness in our soul. We are not paying Him any tax in return. आपने सनलाइट दिया, ये शाम का तक का बिल ले लो, पैसा ले लो. Do we pay anything to the God for these wonderful gifts? But we must at least feel deeply indebted for all that He has given to us. Kritanyata bhav, that is a must. So attitude of gratitude. This is the sentiment of gratitude. We should constantly have that gratitude for God. The reverse of this is the sentiment of ungratefulness. For example, a father does so much for his child. The child is told to be grateful to father for all this. होना चाहिए ना. But if the child responds, why should I be grateful? My father's father, he did for his son, that means my father. So my father is doing for me. So what is great about it? This is the ingratitude towards the worldly father. To be grateful towards God, our eternal Father, for all that He has given to us, is the fourth aspect of surrender. Fifth aspect of surrender, to see everything that we possess as belonging to God. To see everything that we possess as belonging to the God. God created this entire universe, isn't it? It existed even before we were born, and it will continue to exist even when we are no more. Hence, the true owner of everything in the universe is God alone. When we think something belongs to us, we forget the proprietorship of God. For example, let us say someone comes to your house when you are not at home. He wears your clothes. He eats the food out of your refrigerator and sleeps on your bed. On returning, you ask him angrily, what have you been doing in my house? अंदर कैसे घुस गए? And you are using my clothes, using my food, using my bed for sleeping? That person will say, I have not damaged anything. I have just used it. I have not damaged anything. I have merely used everything properly. Why are you getting so annoyed? Then you will reply, you may not have destroyed anything, but it all belongs to me. ये घर मेरा है. If you use it without my permission, you are a thief. Similarly, this world and everything in this world, it belongs to God. To remember this principle and give our sense of proprietorship to God is the fifth aspect of surrender. And the last, sixth aspect of surrender is to give up the pride of being surrendered. All five types of surrender, aspects of surrenders we have followed, but it may generate some kind of pride in our mind. क्या भक्त हो गया मैं, I have grasped all 5 aspects of surrender and I am a true surrender fellow. You should not have that pride also. To give us the pride of being surrendered. If we become proud of the good deeds that we have done, the pride soils our heart and undoes the good that we have done. That is why it is important to keep an attitude of humbleness. If I was able to do something good, it was only because God inspired my intellect in the right direction. Left to myself, I know I'm a wayward person and would never have been able to do all that. God has got it done for me. To keep such an attitude of humility is the sixth aspect of surrender. If we can perfect these 6 points, 6 aspects of surrender, principles of surrender, we will fulfill God's condition. Aptamev sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapti shashvatam. So when you fulfill these conditions, God will bestow His grace on us. Isn't it? That is the meaning of this shloka. Next shloka. Videte jnanam akhyadam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrushayta dasheshena yadhechasi tatha kuru. God says, thus, iti, I have explained to you this knowledge that is more secret than all the secrets. Guhyat guhyataram. Guhyat guhyataram. Secret than all secrets. Vimrushayta dasheshena. Asheshena, completely ponder over it. I have a deep thinking of whatever I have said to you. Yadhechasi tatha kuru. And then you do whatever you want. Whatever you deem fit, you do it. What an example of humbleness said by Shri Krishna. After telling the entire Bhagavad Gita, after satisfying all questions of Arjuna, he is not forcing Arjuna into doing what he has asked him to do. He is leaving it to the good senses of Arjuna. यथेच्छसि तथा करो. तुमको जो करना है वो करो तुम अभी. मैंने बताने का काम किया, करने का काम तुम्हारा है. You can do whatever you want to do. Now the question is, what is the secret about Gita? Guhyat guhyataram. God has said, Guhyat guhyataram. That means all the knowledge that we acquired in Gita up to this shloka is Guhyat guhyataram. So what is the secret about Gita? A Gita book is available for 10 rupees in the market. Sometimes even free also. Anybody and everybody can read it. So what is the secret about it? Guhyat guhyataram, God says. Normally what is Guhya? What is secret? A secret is that information which is not accessible to majority of people. Then we call it secret. If something which is known to all, how can you call it secret? Guhya. Most of the laws of physics were secret until a few centuries ago. And many still continue to be secret. Because we don't know that is what is hiding behind them. Spiritual knowledge is profound and is not realizable through direct perception. Gita is not a novel. It's not a story book that you will read and understand the plot and the story. Spiritual knowledge is profound. Gita is profound. It is to be learned through Guru and through scriptures. Hence it is described as secret. In second Adhyaya, Sri Krishna had revealed the knowledge of the soul, which is Guhya, secret knowledge. All the shlokas of Naina Chinda Shastrani, Naina Nandi Pavaka, Avyakto, Yamachintyo, Yamavikaryo, they are all secret, Guhya. In Adhyaya 7 and 8, he explained knowledge of his powers, which is Guhyataram, Guhyatara, or more secret. In Adhyaya 9, Rajavidya Rajaguyog, and subsequent Adhyayas, he revealed the knowledge of his Bhakti, which is Guhyatam, or most secret. Shri Krishna is now concluding Bhagavad Gita in this 18th Adhyaya. Having spoken most of the shlokas in this Adhyaya, including imparting the most secret knowledge to Arjuna, he now leaves the choice in the hands of Arjuna. He says, I have revealed to you the profound and confidential knowledge. Now the choice is in your hands. Lord Rama made a similar statement to the residents of Ayodhya. He invited them all for his discourse. In that discourse, he explained to them the purpose of human life and the way to accomplish that purpose. In the end, Bhagwan Ram concluded saying, the advice that I have given to you is neither incorrect nor coercive. Listen to it carefully, contemplate over it, and then do what you wish. Yathet kuru. This free will to choose between the available options has been given to the soul by God. God is not forcing anything on us. Free will is a boon given to us. Whether it is a boon or a curse depends on us. The freedom of choice is not infinite, but our choices are limited by our past and present karmas. However, we do possess a certain amount of free will. We are not machines in the hands of God. Sometimes people question that if God had not given us the free will, we would not have done anything wrong then. Anything evil in the life we would not have done. If the God had not given us free will. Free will लेके सब हो गया ना. Free will दिया तो we keep dancing to our tunes, to our free will, and then commit so many evil things in life. If God had not given free will, then we would not have been doing all that. But then we would not have done anything good either. The opportunity to do something good always comes with the danger of doing something evil. More importantly, God wants us to love Him. If He forces something on us, we'll say, "ये तो dictator हो गया, God नहीं है, ये तो dictator हो गया." We don't like dictators, isn't it? So God wants us to love Him, and love is only possible when there is a choice. A machine cannot love because it has no freedom of choice. God created us with free will and provided us the choices so as we may choose Him and thereby exercise our love for Him. The choice is given to us. Even the all-powerful God cannot force the soul to love Him and surrender to Him. He has given that free will to us. He says this decision must be made by the soul itself. Imagine if God would not have given this free will to all, then all the 8 billion population of the earth, if everybody had the same nature, everybody would become a robot with no variety in their nature, how the world would look like. Today the variety of world is charming, no? If everybody becomes a robot, no free will, only obeying the will of God, then the world will become a boring place to live. God has given a free will to us that we make this life more enjoyable and more colorful. But that does not mean we should use free will in a wrong way. Here Sri Krishna Bhagavan is asking Arjuna's attention to his free will, Yathet Guru, and asking him to choose. Knowledge giving, I have done my job. Doing, you have to do. So think over it completely. Asheshena, Vimbrashedasheshena, Yathet Guru, and then do whatever you feel right. So God is great, very humble also. Next sloka. सर्वगह्यतमं भूय शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. Here again, शृणु मे, my supreme instructions, hear them again. The most confidential of all knowledge. I am revealing this for your benefit because you are very dear to me. Ishtos me dridhamiti tato bhakshyami te hitam. For your benefit I am telling because you are ishta to me. See, a teacher may know the deepest secret of the subject that he is teaching, but he does not necessarily reveal it all to the students. Before sharing, he considers many things, such as the preparedness of the student to receive it, to comprehend it, and then benefit from it. In the beginning of Bhagavad-Gītā, Arjuna was bewildered by problems facing him. We saw it in first adhyaya and second adhyaya, beginning of second adhyaya. And then he asked for guidance from Sri Krishna. The Lord enlightened him with great care and consideration, uplifting his understanding. From Shloka Ashokcha Nanushotu Sampradaya Madasha Bhasade Gata Sun Vata Sunshya Nanushotu Pandita, God started uplifting his moral little by little. Through all 18 adhyayas, Shri Krishna Bhagavan has done all this. Having seen Arjuna receiving the message so well and asked freely whenever he had certain problems of understanding problems, Shri Krishna Bhagavan now feels confident that he will be able to grasp the final and the most profound knowledge as well. So he says, Sarva Guhyatamam Bhuya Shrume Paramacha I will give you that knowledge. Further he says, Ishtosme dhrudamiti, meaning I am speaking this to you because you are my very dear friend. So I care for you deeply and sincerely desire in your best interest. Now, what is that Guhyataram knowledge God wants to give? We'll see that. Before that, Man mana bhava bhakto madhya jiman namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyo sime. Is this that knowledge? No, this he has given in earlier adhyayas also. Always think of me, be devoted to me, worship me, and offer obeisances, namaskaram, to me. Doing so, you will certainly come to me. Mami Ushi Satyante Pratijane Priyasi. Pratijane, this is my pledge to you. God is making a pledge to his bhaktas. Normally the reverse of it should happen. This is my pledge to you because you are very dear to me. In Adhyay 9th also there is a similar slok. Man manava bhakto madhyaji manno sru mamishi yuktu atmanam matparayana. Isn't it? The first line is same here also. Man manava bhakto madhyaji manno sru mamishi satyante pratijane priyasi. So, in 9th Adhyaya also, God had promised Arjuna that he will reveal to him the most secret knowledge and then had gone on to describe the glories of bhakti. In 9th Adhyaya, God has said, engage in devotion to me. By developing deep love for Shri Krishna and having his mind always absorbed in exclusive devotion to him, Arjuna will be assured of attaining supreme destination. That was the slogan in 9th Adhyaya. Manmana bhavam bhakto madhya jiman namaskuru mame vaishasi yuktavam atmanam mat parayana. Now here God says, is making a pledge that always think of me, always remain devoted to me, worship me, offer your obeisances to me, and then you will certainly come to me. This is my pledge to you, my promise to you. God is making a promise to his bhakta because you are very dear to me. So fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, worship me, bow to me. So this is the context of this shloka. In this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan gives Arjuna the essence of Gita. Single-pointed devotion is the essence of Gita. Wholehearted surrender is the essence of Gita. And loving remembrance of the divine is the essence of Gita. Long ago, in the foothill village near Himalaya, lived a young shepherd. Let us name him Rohit. His name was Rohit. Okay. Rohit had a unique problem. He worried too much, like we worry. He worried about his sheep, about the weather, about whether the wolves would come, about whether he would earn enough to care for his aging parents. His mind was always racing. One evening, he was bringing his flock, his sheep home. A terrible storm gathered. The sky turned charcoal dark. Thunder cracked like earth breaking apart. The sheep panicked and scattered. Rohit's heart started pounding. Got scared. What do I do first? Where do I run? Where will they go, all the ships? In the lightning flashes, he saw an old hermit walking calmly along the ridge with a small lantern in his hand. Everyone in the village knew this hermit. His name was Rishi Devadatta, a man who lived in deep meditation most of the time. Rohit called out, Rishiji, please help me. The sheep are running everywhere and I cannot see a thing in this storm. The storm will swallow us. The hermit smiled gently and raised his lantern. Follow the light, he said. Don't chase the sheep. When you walk steadily, then they will return to you. Stay behind this lantern. Rohit hesitated. How can one tiny lantern help me in this endless storm? But he trusted that Rishi Devadatta more than his own panic. So he fixed his eyes on the little flame and warmed. Something surprising happened. With every step he took, focusing only on the lantern, the storm seemed to be less frightening. Storm was same, but it seemed less frightening. His breath steadied. Slowly, the ship began gathering behind him, one after the other. The wind also still hollowed, wind was still strong, but Rohit's fear melted as he kept his eyes on the gentle glow of that lantern. When they finally reached the village shelter, Rohit said, Guruji, I would have lost everything today. How did this simple lantern save me? The Rishiji replied, Son, this lantern did not save you. Your single pointed focus saved you. That is what God is asking in this shloka. Single pointed focus. When the mind chases many things, it becomes stormy. When it holds onto one guiding light, it becomes powerful. The Rishiji then added, in life, keep the Lord as your lantern. Remember Him, surrender to Him, love Him, and the storms will arrange themselves. You don't worry about the storms in life then. You simply keep walking. Looking at the lantern. Lantern is God. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan tells to Arjuna in this shloka, fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, worship me, bow down to me, you will come to me. This is my promise. Pratijane priyasi me. So this small story what we discussed, the lantern is Shri Krishna's presence. This is an anecdote, no? So we should try to find out the parallel about this shloka and that anecdote what we discussed. So the lantern in that story is Shri Krishna Bhagavan's presence. Rohit's fear is Arjuna's confusion. Single pointed focus on the light of that lantern represents devotion. When Rohit follows the lantern, the world falls into place. Just as Krishna assures that surrender and remembrance bring harmony and liberation. However, this is not the most confidential knowledge that Shri Krishna Bhagavan is referring to. First, because he, as I said, he has already given this knowledge in the earlier Adhyaya also, 9th Adhyaya also, he said similar thing. He will reveal that in the next shloka as to what that knowledge is. Next shloka, very important shloka. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma shujaha. This is a wonderful slok. I got it written on the wall of my puja ghar, this slok. God says, abandon all varieties of dharma and simply surrender to me alone. I shall liberate you from all sinful reactions. Master, don't worry, don't fear. All along in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan had been asking Arjuna to do two things. Two things simultaneously. One, engage his mind in devotion and engage his body in fulfilling his material duty as a warrior. He thus urged Arjuna not to give up his Kshatriya dharma, but to do devotion alongside it. Mamanusmar Yudhyacha, that we learned in 8th Adhyaya. So keep fighting and keep remembering me also. Do your Kartavya Karma and then keep remembering me also. This is the principle of Karma Yoga. Now Shri Krishna Bhagavan reverses his teaching in this shloka, saying that there is no need even to fulfill the material dharma. Sarvadharman parityaja, chodo sab. Arjuna can renounce all material duties and simply surrender to God. That is what God is saying now. This is the principle of karma sannyas. Earlier, karma yoga. Now this is the principle of karma sannyas. Here, one question may come up that if we give up material dharma, we will incur sin or not. Kartavya karma chhod diya, shall we incur sin or not? Shri Krishna tells Arjuna not to fear. Mashuja, don't worry, don't fear. He will absolve him from all sins and liberate him from the material existence. To understand this instruction of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Sarvadharman Parityaja, we need to understand the term dharma. What is that dharma, Sarvadharman Parityaja? It comes from the root word dhri. Dhri means dharne yogya. Dharan karne yogya, pakadne yogya. responsibilities, duties, thoughts, actions that are appropriate for us is the dharma. Now there are actually two kinds of dharma. One is material dharma and another is spiritual dharma. These two kinds of dharmas are based on two different understandings of the self. If we identify ourselves as body, then our dharma is determined in accordance with our material designations, obligations, duties, and norms. Hence, serving our physical parents, fulfilling responsibilities towards society or even the country are all parts of our material dharma. This is also called apara dharma. Para and apara we learn in 7th Adhyaya Gita, or the material dharma. This includes dharma as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. However, when identifying ourselves as soul, we no longer have designation of Varna, social class, or ashram, our status in life. Hence, our one and only one dharma, if we are considering ourselves as soul and not body, it becomes living devotional service to the God. This is called paradharma or the spiritual dharma. If one leaves the material dharma, it is considered a sin due to avoidance of duty. But if one leaves material dharma and takes shelter of spiritual dharma, it is not a sin. Now the question is, why Shri Krishna Bhagavan did not give this instruction to Arjuna earlier? Sarv dharma parityaja, pehle bol dena chahiye tha na. Why did he seem to give new understanding now, which is seemingly opposite to the instructions given in earlier Adhyaya, 5th Adhyaya, for example, where he stated that karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. Tostu karma sannyasat karma yoga vishishyate. That he has said in 5th Adhyaya. Lord Shri Krishna will explain this in the next shloka as to why he is saying this now. Before that, Sarvadharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyama shuja. Abandon all dharmas and take refuge in me alone. I shall free you from all sins. Do not fear. In ancient kingdom, there lived a noble but exhausted king named Vikrant. He was a good ruler, beloved by his people, but he had one flaw. He believed he alone must manage everything. Every decision, every dispute, every crisis, he alone should manage everything. Whenever ministers offered help, he would say, no. A king must carry out full weight of his kingdom. It is my duty, my dharma. I alone will handle it. Years went and the burdens grew. Famine one year, rebellion the next year, economic troubles, border attacks. The king barely slept, barely ate. His mind was burning like a forest fire. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, he wandered into the palace garden, overwhelmed by the situations around him. Then he found a royal sage. His name was Rishi Surya Deva. Calmly watering a small sapling, Surya Deva was there. The king said bitterly to him, Rishiji, I feel like I am drowning. Duty is crushing me. But if I abandon my dharma, the kingdom will crumble. The sage handed the king the clay pot filled with water. Hold this pot with your arms outstretched. Vikrant held it. It felt light. But after a few minutes, the king's arms began trembling. The pot felt heavier. We explain this. Within 5 minutes, his arms collapsed and water spilled everywhere. The sage asked gently, did the pot become heavier? King said, no, my strength failed. Then the sage smiled. That is exactly what is happening to you, king. The burden of life never grows heavier. It is the ego that insists on holding them alone that grows weaker. The sage then added, if you had simply placed the pot on the ground, it would have remained safe. Would you insisted keeping in your own hands? Similarly, if you place your burden on Lord, everything will remain safe. The king looked puzzled. But how can a ruler abandon his dharma? The sage replied, you misunderstand Krishna's teaching in this shloka. He does not ask you to drop responsibility. He asks you to drop the false sense of doership. That is Sarvadharma Parityaja. Just as you place the pot on the ground, place the I am doing everything ego at his feet. That is Sarvadharma Parityaja. The word struck the king like lightning. Over the next few months, Vikrant changed. He still performed all his duties, but with a calm heart. He consulted his ministers, delegated them wisely, and most importantly, he began each action by saying, "O Lord, this is yours, not mine. Guide me." His decisions grew clearer. His mind became more peaceful. The kingdom flourished. One day he told the sage, I did not abandon my dharma, I abandoned my anxiety about dharma. So in this anecdote, Krishna's message becomes simple. Abandon all dharmas. That means give up the ego of burden of I alone must do everything. You don't do anything actually. Surrender to me. Offer your actions, responsibilities and outcome to the divine. I will free you from all sins. He removes the fear, the guilt, the confusion and karmic weight of our karmas. Do not fear, Mashita. The mind becomes fearless when it stops imagining that I am the only doer. The king's transformation models Arjuna's transformation when he will finally say, all my nashtomos virlabdhatvat prasadan maya chudasirusmi sandeh karishya vachanantam. Okay, next shloka. Idantenadavaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana najashushrushave vachan nachamayobhyasuyati. This instruction should never be explained to those who are not austere, na tapa, not to those who are not devoted, na bhaktaya. It should also not be spoken to those who are averse to listening the spiritual topics, and especially not to those who are envious of me. It was explained in the previous shloka by Lord Shri Krishna that if one is situated in living devotion to the God, there is no sin in giving up the material duties. We discussed that. However, there is one problem with this instruction. If we have not yet come in love with God and we prematurely give up our material duties, we will neither be here nor there. We are not performing our material duties and we are not performing our spiritual duties. Neither nor there. Dobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka. Thus, karma sannyas is only for those who are qualified for it. And what we are qualified for is determined by our Guru, who knows our capabilities. The stringencies of spiritual path, our Guru knows. If a student wishes to become a graduate, he will not go directly to the university and attend graduation ceremony. He will become by studying standard 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, isn't it? Sequentially, he will study. Similarly, a vast majority of people are eligible for karma yoga. It would be a great folly for them to prematurely take karma sannyas. It is better to instruct them to fulfill their material dharma and practice devotion alongside. Mamanusmara yuddheja. That is why in this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan says that this confidential knowledge, teaching given by him is not for everyone. Sarvadharma Parityaja is not for everyone. Before sharing it with others, we should check their eligibility for their teaching. The word of caution applies specifically for the confidential teaching of the previous shloka and in general for the entire Bhagavad Gita knowledge. If it is explained to someone who is envious of Lord Shri Krishna, that person may respond. क्या बोलेगा? Shri Krishna Bhagavan is very conceited, highly egoistic. He kept asking Arjuna to constantly glorify him. By misunderstanding the teachings in Gita, the faithless listener will be harmed by this divine message. The Padma Purana also says the same thing. It says, by giving transcendental knowledge instructions to those who are faithless and averse to God, we cause them to become offenders. And Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, describe the disqualification for listeners of this shloka. Further, Slok 68. Ye imam paramam guhyam adbhakteshvavidasyati bhaktim mayim parang krutva mame vaishyatya samshayah. Amongst my devotees, those who teach this most confidential knowledge perform the greatest act of love. Bhaktim mayim parang krutva. They will come to me without doubt. Mame vaishyatya asamshayah. Shri Krishna Bhagavan now declares the consequences of properly preaching the message of Gita. He says, such preachers attain his para-bhakti, bhakti mayim parang, and then attain him. Attain his para-bhakti, and then mami vaishyatya samshaya. Without doubt they attain him. The opportunity to engage in devotion is a blessing of God. God has given us this blessing that we are studying Gita. Without his blessing, we would not have come here. But the opportunity to help others engage in devotion is even bigger. That blessing is even bigger, which attracts the special grace of God. Whenever we share something good with others, we benefit from that too. पढ़ाने से ज़्यादा सीखता है आदमी. What I was knowing about Gita 5 years back and what I know after starting Vivachan, there is a big difference in that. I have learned more by teaching than by my own self-study. So whenever we share whatever knowledge we have with others, grace, our knowledge increases as well. By often giving food to others, we never go hungry ourselves. Sant Kabir has said, wealth does not decrease by giving it in charity. A river does not become narrow though people take water from it. He says, I am not saying this without basis. See it for yourself in the world. That's true also. Thus, those who share the spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita with others receive the highest blessings themselves. Next shloka. न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि. No human being does more living service to me than they, nor shall there be anyone on this earth more dear to me. न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि. Of all the gifts we give to others, the gift of spiritual knowledge is one of the highest because it has the capacity to transform the life of the recipient eternally. Now you can realize this yourself. Remember the day when you first joined Gita Pariwar and registered yourself for L1, 12th and 15th Adhyaya Bhakti Yoga and Purushottama Yoga. And today when you have traveled for so many months and come to the end of Gita 18th Adhyaya, what has changed in you? Do some introspection, Swadhyay. The change which you yourself have noticed and also noticed by people around you. Change in learning after learning Bhagavad Gita is imminent. Nobody can avoid it. King Janak asked a question to his guru once. The transcendental knowledge bestowed upon me is so precious that I feel deeply indebted to you for giving this spiritual knowledge. What can I give you in return? His Guru Ashtavakra, he replied, there is nothing you can give that will relinquish you from your debt. The knowledge I gave you was divine, and all that you possess is material. Worldly objects can never be a price for the divine knowledge. But You can do one thing. If you ever find someone who is thirsty of this knowledge, please share this with him. In this shloka, Śrīmad Bhagavan says the same thing. He speaks of the highest form of devotion, not merely worship, rituals, meditation, or personal discipline, but sharing spiritual wisdom with others. Śrīmad Bhagavan declares that the one who teaches Gita's message, who helps others understand the truth of self, the truth of duty, the truth of devotion, and the truth of liberation, moksha mukti, becomes most beloved to him. This shloka reveals how deeply Lord values spiritual service done for the upliftment of the humanity. The Gita is not just a philosophical text. It's not a philosophical text. It is a manual for living with clarity, with righteousness, and with inner freedom. Therefore, anyone who helps spread its light becomes an instrument in God's compassion. By teaching the Gita, one helps remove ignorance, which Shri Krishna identifies as the root cause of suffering. Isn't it? After learning Gita, we have started getting rid of our ajnan. That is the purpose Shri Krishna Bhagavan has. Such a person becomes a guide, a torchbearer, and a carrier of divine knowledge that can transform lives. Importantly, Shri Krishna Bhagavan is not referring only to the formal teachers or scholars. विवेचन करके हो गया great, ऐसा नहीं है. Anyone, whether through words, through actions, or examples, who encourages others towards this truth, towards righteousness, towards devotion, performs this sacred service. Even sharing one's insight, clearing one doubt, or inspiring one mind counts as teaching. Why is such a person most dear to Krishna? Because they align themselves with his mission. The preservation of dharma and the spiritual welfare of all is the mission of Lord Krishna. If anyone is helping him in his mission, he will definitely become dearest to him. They act without selfish motives, dedicating their efforts to the upliftment of others. This is the highest form of karma yoga, combined with bhakti and jnana. Thus, this shloka honors the role of spiritual teachers and emphasizes the profound responsibility and the blessings that come with sharing divine knowledge. Through this such service, one becomes a channel of Krishna's love and grace in the world. Now, on a lighter note, I must say, why do you think that all members of Gita Pariwar are so dedicated on this free service? Nobody gets a rupee. Normally people don't do anything for free, no? But in Gita Pariwar, everybody does everything for free. They are competing with each other to offer some seva. Whatever little they can do, they want to do it. Members are disparate. Somebody wants to become trainer, somebody wants to become tech, somebody wants to become GC, BC, all that. Some seva, हमको कुछ सेवा देने दो, उसको सेवा देने दो. Why? This shloka is the answer. We all want to become Shri Krishna's dear ones. That's why we're running to become his dear one. However, those who offer such seva on Bhagavad Gita should never feel that they are doing something very great. गीता के 4 क्लास ले लिए और मैं बहुत ग्रेट हो गया, मैं गीता विवेचक हो गया. That ahankar never helps you. Rather, it harms you. The proper attitude for them is to see oneself as an instrument in the hands of God and to accord all the credit to the grace of God for selecting him or her for offering this seva to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Next shloka. Adyeshyate chaivimam dharmam sammadamavayoho jnana yajnena tenaha mishtasyamiti me matihi. In 4th adhyaya, Bhagavan has taught 12 types of adhyaya. Yajnas, 12 types of yajnas. Here also he is talking of one yajna. What is that? God says, and I proclaim that those who study this sacred dialogue of ours, that means Arjuna, you and me, what we have been speaking on this battlefield of Kurukshetra, that dialogue, they will worship me with their intellect. They will perform a jnana yajna for me. This is my view. Me matihi. So by studying Bhagavad Gita, by contemplating on Bhagavad Gita shlokas, we are performing a jnana yajna. What a great statement, no? Shri Krishna Bhagavan has repeatedly told Arjuna to surrender his intellect to him. In many adhyayas, in 8th adhyay, 12th adhyay, this adhyay, last adhyay, almost every adhyay. This does not imply that we stop using our intellect. Rather, it means we utilize our intellect to the best of our ability in fulfilling his will for us. From the message of Bhagavad Gita, we understand what his will is. It is amply clear to us now. कर्तृत्वाभिमान छोड़ दो, कर्म फल की अपेक्षा छोड़ दो, keep performing your कर्तव्य कर्म, and keep remembering me also. These are the main 4 teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Hence, those who study this sacred dialogue worship God with their intellect. People whose intellect is deeply enrooted in this teachings of Bhagavad Gita, they are performing a jnana yajna for him. Now tell me, can there be any other easier means of performing a yajna for God? Read Gita every day and perform jnana yajna. As simple as that. We think that when we want to change our lives, we need to think something very big. But real change comes from combined effects of hundreds of small things. Reading Bhagavad Gita 2-3 adhyayas every day, is it a big task? Not a big task, no? It doesn't take more than 20 minutes to read 3 adhyayas. Some adhyayas you can finish in 3-4 minutes, 12th adhyay, 15th adhyay, 16th adhyay, 24 sloks. Doesn't take much time. But as you read more and more, you start thinking about it more and more. And that is what is required. Contemplating on what we are reading. So how to bring small changes in life which will have big effect? The thing to think is about this. How can we apply this attitude in our life? If we get up, for example, at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, make a small change. Make a small change and get up at 5:45, 15 minutes earlier. We will be amazed to see how these 15 minutes can help us to redesign our daily activity calendar more effectively and bring a great change in us. 15 minutes. But it can change our calendar. Suppose you do 15 minutes pranayam or 15 minutes meditation, your life will be changed, no? Okay, next, 71. God says, Shraddhavan anusuyasya shrunayadapi naraha sopi muktashvan lokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Even those who listen to this knowledge, shrunu. आपको पढ़ते नहीं आता है संस्कृत, ठीक है, नहीं आता है, कोई बात नहीं है. You can at least listen to it. There are audios. You can listen to that. Even those who listen to this knowledge with faith and without envy will be liberated from the sins. Sopi mukta shubhan lokan prapnayat punya karmanam, and they will attain the auspicious abodes where the pious dwell. That means in the Svargaloka. See, not everyone has the intellect to comprehend the depth of the importance of dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. So many things are related to Jnana Yoga, which all of us may not be able to understand clearly. Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga, 13th Adhyay, quite difficult to understand. Here Shri Krishna Bhagavan assures that if such people merely hear it with faith, they will also benefit. God is seated in them and he is noting down their sincere endeavors and he will reward them appropriately at appropriate time. So Shrunu, at least listen to it. Further, Kachchidedachyutam partha tvaikagrena chetasa Kachchidajnana sammoha pranasyaste dhananjayo. Now God is asking a question. Arjuna, have you heard me? With a concentrated mind, Tvaikagrena chetasa. Have your ignorance and your illusion been dispelled? Kachchidajnana asammoha pranasyaste. Dhananjaya, Arjuna, So Krishna Bhagavan has taken the position of being Arjuna's teacher, his guide. And it is natural of the teacher to inquire whether the student has grasped the subject or not. That is what Sri Krishna Bhagavan is asking. इतना बता दिया तुमको, अभी तुमको समझ में कितना आया देखो. Have you understood what I have said? That is what he is asking Arjuna. Sri Krishna's intention of asking the question is that if Arjuna has not understood something, he is ready to re-explain. That is the patience Sri Krishna is displaying. If you still have questions, I am here to satisfy. Keep on asking till your doubts are all removed. I am prepared to go into further details. Will Arjuna ask some questions more? Probably then Gita would have spread to another 5-6 adhyayas. Maybe we would have got 25 adhyaya Gita. But Arjuna is now fully satisfied with all the knowledge that he acquired from Lord in this 18 adhyaya Gita. Next shloka, Arjuna says, for which all Gita lovers are waiting. This is that shloka. Arjuna uvacha nashto mohasvirlabdhat patprasadan mayachyuto sidosmita sandeha karishye vachanantavo. All along Arjuna has been asking questions. Now here is declaring nashto mohasvirlabdha patprasadan mayachyuto sidosmita sandeha karishye vachanantavo. Arjuna says, O infallible Achyuta, by your grace, Tat Prasadat, my illusion has been dispelled, and I am situated in knowledge. Sthitosmi, Gata Sandeha, Sab Sandeha Khatam ho gaye. I am now free from doubts, and I shall act according to your instructions. Karishye Vachanan Tava. Aapne jo bataya hai, I will act according to that only. This shloka marks one of the most powerful turning points in the entire Bhagavad Gita. It is the moment when Arjuna, who began the dialogue drowned in grief, in confusion, and moral paralysis, finally regains his clarity, conviction, and inner strength. After hearing all 18 chapters of Gita from Lord Krishna, who taught him the Gita, their spanning karma, then devotion, renunciation, sannyas, meditation, three gunas of prakriti, sattva, raja, tamo, and the soul's nature, lineage, nature, tharani, avyaktam, jintavayam, all that, and God's cosmic form, which we see in 11th Adhyaya of Gita, the ultimate path of surrender also has been explained in Gita. Now Arjuna transforms from a broken warrior into a spiritually awakened hero. He says, Gata Sandeha, all Sandeha are gone now. Arjuna begins by saying, my delusion is destroyed. Delusion is moha. Was Arjuna's primary problem. In chapter 1, we know attachment to relationship, fear of sin, concern for social consequences, identification with body and emotional exhaustion. Sri Krishna's teaching did not change the external situation. What is what? He did not change the external situation. The battle is still there. But he transformed Arjuna's inner vision. The destruction of illusion signifies the removal of false perceptions. That death is the end. No, death is not the end. That relationships are permanent. No, relationships are not permanent. The emotions should dictate the duty. No, never. Emotions should never dictate the duty. And that one's individual ego is the doer. No, individual's ego is not the doer. It is the prakriti under which he is working. Prakriti is getting it done from us. Next, Arjuna says, my memory is restored. Here, memory, smriti, does not mean collection of past events, not that memory. It means spiritual memory. The inner awareness of one's true nature as the eternal soul. He has forgotten, all of us had forgotten this till we read Gita again, that we are the soul, not the body. This is Gata, that smriti, that he has got it again. So this particular spiritual memory, the inner awareness of one's true nature is as the eternal self of one's purpose, swadharma, and of the divine presence guiding the life is what he has regained. Memory is restored. When this memory is restored, the mind regains its original clarity and stability. Shri Krishna Bhagavan, grace functions not as an external miracle, but as the light of knowledge that realigns Krishna Arjuna's understanding. Then Arjuna is declaring, I stand firm and doubt-free. Doubt is Sandeha. Sandeha becomes the willpower and leads to inaction. When there is a confused mind, you start sitting idle. Through Krishna's teaching, Arjuna's doubts about duty, about righteousness, about life, about death, and the path to liberation have been dissolved. A doubt-free mind is more powerful because it is united, integrated, and capable of decisive action. Finally, Arjuna ends with the ultimate sign of transformation. I will act according to your words. Karishye vachanam tava. This is the final declaration from Arjuna. This is surrender, not helplessness. Surrender is not helplessness, but in strength. He is announcing it in strength, not in the mode of surrender. Arjuna now acts with wisdom, with devotion, and with detachment. He steps into the battle not out of anger or ambition, but out of alignment with the divine will. So, Nashtomo Siddhirlabdha Tvat Prasadan Mayachita, Tosmikta Sandeha, Karishye Vachanantava. Arjuna says, my delusion is destroyed, my memory, true understanding is restored. I stand free, firm from doubt, and I will act according to your words. This is the moment of Arjuna's awakening. The moment of the entire Gita has been building towards. This is that moment. Let us discuss one small anecdote to understand this shloka even better. A young mountaineer, his name was Arav. He was standing under a legendary Himalayan guide. His name was Master Rudra. Arav dreamed of scaling a difficult peak in Himalaya called Mrityunjaya, which many believed to be unclimbable. After weeks of harsh training and unpredictable weather, Arav and Rudra finally began to ascend on that. The journey was steep, icy, and exhausting. Halfway the mountain, a sudden blizzard hit. Visibility dropped to almost zero. The icy wind screamed like spirits. Arav froze, not because of the cold, but because fear seized his mind. He could not see the path. He could not hear his guru's instructions clearly. He felt paralyzed. He wondered if the climb itself was meaningless. घर जाते हैं वापस. He questioned his ability, his strength. Can I do this? Do I have the strength? Even his decision to begin the journey at all, he started questioning. Was I right in deciding to come? Just like Arav on the battlefield, Arjuna also started feeling like clouded with fear, confusion, and emotional paralysis. Master Rudra, he saw Arav's trembling and motionlessness. He placed firm hand on his shoulder, a silent reminder that he was not alone. I am with you, don't worry. He leaned close and said loudly to Arav, stop trying to see the whole path. Find the next stone. Step on it. The path reveals itself only when the climb trusts and acts. Climber should have that trust. You as a climber should trust. Put your foot on the next stone. Arav, still trembling, looked down. Through the blinding snow, he just saw one rock, one step. He placed his shaky foot on that. Then he saw another one, and another one, and then another one. The fog did not lift immediately, but something inside Arav did change. He began to trust Rudra's voice, his training, and he started believing in himself also, that yes, I can do it. Step by step, he climbed with renowned determination. Hours later, they reached the summit. The blizzard had cleared. The skies opened like a blessing. The world stretched out in golden light below them. Arav stood still, overwhelmed. He understood something profound. The fog was not the real enemy. His fear and self-doubt were the real barriers. The mountain had never been unscalable. His mind had been unscalable. He looked at his guru and said, Master, my fear is gone. My mind is clear. I now understand what was always within me. From here on, I trust and act. This statement, it mirrors Arjuna's awakening, what we have recited in this shloka. Nashto mohasidirlabda tat prasadad mayachita tosmigda santehe karishye vachanantava. My delusion is destroyed, my clarity has returned, I am free from doubt, and I will now act as per your command. So this anecdote highlights the Gita's teaching in this shloka particularly. Confusion and fear are like fog. They blind us, confusion and fear. True clarity comes when the heart becomes steady. Guidance, like Shri Krishna's, becomes effective only when the listener opens up. Otherwise, Gita was heard by Dhritarashtra also, but he did not open up. He did not change him at all. Action becomes powerful only when rooted in understanding. Arav did not conquer the mountain, he conquered the fog within himself. Arjuna, he conquered the fear, the doubt, the confusion in himself. So the essence of this small anecdote is the blizzard is Arjuna's grief and confusion. The fog and clouded vision is the moha, delusion. Master Rudra's guidance is Bhagavan Shri Krishna's teachings. Seeing the next step, clarity returning, Smritir Labdha. Reaching the summit, Arjuna's inner awakening. And Arav's commitment to proceed is Karishye Vachanantava. So this shloka represents the complete journey of the devotee, of the seeker, from confusion to clarity, fear to faith, and ego-driven hesitation to soul-guided action. It is the perfect conclusion of Gita's spiritual teaching. Next shloka, Sanjayam vacha ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanah samvadamimam shrosham adbhutam romaharshanam. Sanjay says, we'll take the shlokas quickly now because we have to cover the summary of entire Gita also. So Sanjay says, I have heard this wonderful conversation between Shri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and Arjuna, the noble-hearted son of Pritha, that means Kunti. So thrilling is the message that my hair is standing on the end, romanchit. In this way, Sanjay comes to the end of narration of the divine discourse of Bhagavad Gita. He refers to Arjuna as Mahatma, great soul, as he has heeded advice and instructions of Sri Krishna. That's why he is Mahatma. And hence has become eminently wise after attaining this much great knowledge of Gita. Sanjay now remarks how amazed and astounded he is on hearing this divine dialogue between Shri Krishna Bhagavan and Arjuna. The hair standing on the end is one of the signs of deep devotional fervor. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says there are 8 signs of devotional ecstasy. 1. Becoming stupefied and motionless. 2. Sweating. 3. Hair standing on the end, romanchit. 4. Choking of voice. 5. Trembling. 6. Color of the face becoming pale. 7. Shedding tears. And 8th, fainting. Sanjay is experiencing such intense devotional sentiments that his hair is bristling with divine joy. One may ask how it was possible for Sanjay to hear that dialogue which took place far off on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Sanjay is sitting in the palace of Dhritarashtra. He reveals that in the next shloka. Vyasaprasadachyuttamani tadguhyamam param yogam yogeshwarat krishna sakshat katheta swayam. By grace of Maharishi Vedavyas, I have heard this supreme and most secret yoga from the Lord of Yoga, Yogeshwara, Shri Krishna himself. Shri Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva, also known as spiritual master of Sanjay. Bhagavan Vyas is the spiritual master of Sanjay. By grace of his guru, Maharishi Vedavyas, Sanjay had been blazed with the power of spiritualistic mind reader. That is called clairvoyance, spiritual mind reading. That is to know all that transpired on the battlefield of Kurukshetra while he sat in the royal palace of Hastinapur of Dhritarashtra. Sanjay acknowledges that it was due to his guru's mercy that he got the opportunity to hear the supreme science of yoga from the Lord of Yoga, Shri Krishna Bhagavan himself. Maharishi Vedavyas, the author of Brahma Sutras, the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata, and other scriptures, was a descendant associate of God only, and possesses all the clairvoyant power himself. He is a spiritual mind reader himself. Thus he not only heard the conversation between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, but also the one between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. As a result, he included both conversations in compiling the Bhagavad Gita. Next sloka. Rajan Sanskritya Samskritya Samvadamimam Adbhutam Keshavarjunayah Punyam Rishyami cha Muhurmuhu. As I repeatedly recall this astonishing and wonderful dialogue between the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna, O King, that means O Dhritarashtra, I rejoice again and again. Rishyami cha Muhurmuhu. A spiritual experience gives happiness that is far, 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 far more thrilling and satisfying than all the material enjoyments put together. Sanjay is rejoicing in such happiness and sharing his experiences with Dhritarashtra. Reflecting and remembering the wonderful dialogue, he is feeling divine bliss. This indicates the sublimity, the mahatta, the badappan, the greatness of the knowledge contained in the scriptures and the divine Leela that Sanjay was able to witness himself. He is getting overwhelmed. Next sloka. Tatya Samsmritya Samsmritya Rupamatyadbhutam Harehe Vismayo me Mahan Rajan Rishyami cha Punah Punaha. And remembering that most astonishing and wonderful cosmic form, Virat Rup, that we see in the 11th Adhyay, Shri Krishna, the Virat Rup, great is my astonishment, and I am thrilled with joy over and over again. Rishyami cha Punah Punaha. Arjuna was blessed with the vision of cosmic form of Lord, which is rarely seen even by the greatest yogis. Shri Krishna told him that he was showing him the universal form because Arjuna was his devotee and his best friend, and thus very dear to him. Sanjay also came to see the cosmic form because he was fortunate to be a part of the divine Leela of God himself. Sanjay is a part of the divine Leela of God. As a narrator of that Leela, there are times when an unexpected grace comes our way also. If we utilize it properly, we can also progress rapidly in our sadhana, spiritual sadhana. Sanjay is repeatedly contemplating upon what he saw and is flowing in the current of devotion, being very overwhelmed. Last sloka of Gita, last sloka of this Adhyay. Yatra yogeshwara krishnau yatra partho dhanurdharaha tatra shrirvijayo bhutir dhruva nitir matir mamo. Wherever there is Lord Shri Krishna, the Lord of all yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will certainly be unending opulence, victory, prosperity, and righteousness. Of this I am certain. The Bhagavad Gita concludes with this shloka, delivering a deep pronouncement. Dhritarashtra was apprehensive of the outcome of the war. That's why he wanted to hear it from Sanjay. Sanjay informs him that the material calculation of relative strength of Kaurava and Pandavas, the number of two armies, were irrelevant. Kaurava's army was much bigger than Pandava's army, but that is irrelevant. He announces there can only be one verdict of this war. Victory will always be on the side of God and his pure devotee. And so will goodness, supremacy, and abundance. God is independent, self-sustaining sovereign of the world, and the worthiest object of adoration and worship. In fact, Sanjay is declaring to Dhritarashtra, know for sure that it is Pandavas who will be victorious. The war will end in the victory of the sons of Pandu. Sanjay himself is very overwhelmed with all that he has heard and he has seen. Repeatedly remembering Lord's words, his magnificent form, he keeps rejoicing in excitement. Shri Krishna may have spoken to Arjuna, but Sanjay too listened it with a singularly attentive mind. And he communicated everything to King Dhritarashtra. So thus, in effect, there are three persons who heard Bhagavad Gita from Lord Krishna: Arjuna, Sanjay, and Dhritarashtra. Now, Arjuna being Sattva-guni, he was liberated instantaneously. Sanjay had the predominance of Rajoguna. Yet, due to grace of Vedavyas, Maharishi Vedavyas, he is experiencing the exhilarating, thrilling joy. But being tamasi by nature, Dhritarashtra is still the same. He is still hankering about the victory of his sons, even after listening to the whole Gita. Thus he could not listen despite listening. He was not only physically blind, but intellectually deaf as well. As a consequence of not stopping the war, despite the declaration from Sanjay that Pandavas were going to win the war, he had finally immersed in deep grief and agony, witnessing destruction, devastation happening all around. He lost all his 100 sons. It was indeed his misfortune that despite listening to Shri Krishna Bhagavan's illuminating discourse, he could not take himself out from the swamp of attachment. The gist of the matter is, mere listening of Gita will not be beneficial to those who are of tamasic disposition. There is some hope for Rajasic people only if they are endeavoring to purify their intellect. But if they are working towards deepening their faith, then yes, it may help them. The Sattvic individuals, however, amongst the people will be experiencing the state of Sanjay, if not Arjuna. So Gita can transform us. It depends on how our view is. Now this is the end of 18th Adhyay, end of Bhagavad Gita as well. But having come from Adhyay 1 to Adhyay 18, what have we learned? What are the important takeaways for us in each of these 18 Adhyayas? This is the time now to ponder over this and list down a few important messages of Gita to bring them in our day-to-day life. As Pujya Swamiji says, Gita padhe, padhaye aur jivan mein laye. You have already padhe the Gita. Many of you may be teacher, trainer also. Now how to bring it in the life? For that we need to know the takeaway of Bhagavad Gitas for us. The Bhagavad Gita is not merely a book. It is a living dialogue that unfolds repeatedly within every human heart. Gita is happening in our heart every day, every moment. It captures the moment when a person stands at crossroads of duty and doubt, actions and confusion, worldly life and spiritual aspirations. Across the 700 shlokas, Shri Krishna Bhagavan transforms Arjuna's despair into clarity, giving humanity one of its most universal guidebook on life, discipline, justice, devotion, and ultimate moksha, liberation. This deep dive explores the Gita thematically rather than merely chapter-wise, weaving teachings with important shlokas and expanding each into psychological and practical wisdom. So, Adhyaya 3rd is Karma Yoga. But does it mean Karma Yoga shlokas are not there in other Adhyayas? No, they are there. 3rd, 4th, 5th, many Adhyayas. Karma Yoga shlokas are there. So, we should divide it based on the understanding that we derive from the entire Bhagavad Gita. Part 1, the context. Why Gita begins with confusion? First Adhyaya, confusion. Arjuna's confusion. The Gita does not begin with wisdom. It begins with a collapse, moral collapse of Arjuna. Arjuna, the greatest warrior, a man raised on dharma, truth, courage, is suddenly paralyzed by emotional breakdown. His bow slips, his legs tremble, and tears blur his vision. गांडीव संस्कृते हस्तात् पक्षै परदय्यते न च शक्नोमि वसतं भ्रवति मज्मना अश्रुपूर्णा कुलेक्षणम्. He says, my mind is reeling, my limbs fail, my skin burns, my bow slips from my hand. This opening chapter is crucial. The Gita acknowledges human vulnerability before offering spiritual strength. Arjuna's crisis symbolizes the crisis every human being faces: confusion about responsibility, fear of consequences, emotional conflict, paralyzing overthinking, attachment to relationships, and moral dilemmas. Thus, in the first major takeaway is honest confusion is the doorway to transformation. Shri Krishna's teachings begin only when Arjuna says, Karpanya dosho padanasvava pruchami tvandaram sammuda chedaha yachriyasyanishidam bruhidan me shishyasteham shadiman tvam prapannam. I surrender to you, please guide me. Shishyasteham shadiman tvam prapannam. I surrender to you, I become your shishya, please guide me. Spiritual learning requires humility. The Gita is not for those who think they already know everything. It is for those who are willing to listen. This is the takeaway. Part number 2. The immortal self, our Atma, soul, the foundation of fearlessness. Before Shri Krishna Bhagavan teaches, he first establishes the eternal identity of human beings. You are not body, he says. You are the imperishable soul. This is the cornerstone of entire Gita. That we are all souls, we are not bodies. Najayate imriyate va kadachin ayam bhutva bhavida va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The self is never born, never dies. It is unborn, eternal, everlasting. And vasamsa jirnani yatha vyaya navani grannati naroparani tadha sharirani vyaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. As one discards worn-out garments and takes new ones, so the soul leaves old bodies and takes the new ones. From this emerges the powerful takeaway, that is, fearlessness is born from self-knowledge, that I am soul, I am not body. All fear, fear of failure, fear of death, fear of change, fear of loss, comes from the mistaken identity. When one knows that I am eternal witness, the life becomes lighter. Part number 3, Karma Yoga, the art of karma without anxieties. Once self is understood, Shri Krishna Bhagavan moves to the practical domain, karma. Life cannot be avoided. We have come to live. Life cannot be avoided. The battlefield cannot be escaped in life. The responsibility cannot be abandoned. Thus, Shri Krishna Bhagavan teaches Arjuna the Karma Yoga. Performing duties without attachment is Karma Yoga. The most quoted verse of Bhagavad Gita is Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana ma karma phale turbhur mate sangostva karmani. You have the right to perform your duty, your karma, but not the results. This is not indifference to result. It is detachment from emotional dependence on results. Work sincerely, but let go of the obsession that comes. Why? Because results depend on many factors. We learned this in Gita, not only on your efforts. We learned in the 18th Adhyaya only. Adhishtanatha akarta karanicha pradakdam vividashtabdak cheshta daivai chaivatra panchamam. 5 factors are responsible for any action to take place. Only your efforts are of no use. Second, attachment creates fear, anger, impatience, ego, and stress. 3, non-attachment brings clarity, efficiency, and joy. That is why karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana ma karma phale turbhur mate sangostva karmani. Shri Krishna Bhagavan also explains that avoiding action is impossible. In third adhyay, naikashchit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krut karyate eva karma sarva prakriti gunaihi. No one can remain without action, without karma, even for a moment. Naikashchit kshanamapi. Even breathing is an action. Breathing is also a karma. The choice is not between action and inaction, but between wise action and confused action. Action cannot be avoided. The choice is between wise action and confused action. Thus, Karma Yoga is not withdrawal, it is the skill in action. God says in second adhyay, Buddhi yukto jahati ho uve sukruta dushkrute tasmad yoga yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga karmasu kaushal. Yoga is the skill of action, skill of karma. Karmasu kaushalam. Skill means acting without, acting with clarity, acting with calmness, acting with focus, acting with values, and acting with detachment. This transforms ordinary duty into spiritual practice. Ordinary karma gets converted into karma yoga. Part number 4 of Gita, the psychology of mind. Friend and enemy. Where is the friend and where is the enemy? God says, Bhagavan dives deep into this psychology of human beings. Who is my friend and who is my enemy? He explains that one's own mind can be his greatest enemy and his greatest friend as well. Uddhareda atmanan atmanam avsadayet atmaye atmano bandhur atmayurivaratmanaha. Lift yourself by your own mind. The mind is the friend of the self and the enemy of the self. The enemy or friend are not hidden somewhere outside. They are in you only. The mind polluted by desires, by anger, by ego, by greed, by attachments, and by anxieties becomes unbearable. But when disciplined through meditation and self-control and contemplation of Bhagavad Gita, it becomes a loyal friend. The battlefield is not outside. The real field is within. The real battle is within. Gita teaches us how to regulate the desires, how to cultivate balanced habits, how to control speech, how to calm emotions, how to build unshakable focus. God has said, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha in 6th adhyaya. Moderation is the key. Moderation in food, moderation in recreation, moderation in sleep, moderation in work leads to yoga. A stable mind creates stable life. Part number 5 of Gita, desire, anger, and the root of human suffering. Why do people suffer? Krishna explains the chain of reaction to wonderful shlokas in 2nd adhyay. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamak kamat krudo vijayate and krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibrama smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. Dwelling on objects, sense objects, shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha, desires arises. Desire turns into anger. Desire not fulfilled, anger. Anger leads to delusion. Delusion destroys the memory. Memory loss, it causes intellect destruction. And when intellect is destroyed, the person is totally ruined. Satyanash. This is the psychological masterpiece of Bhagavad Gita. These two shlokas of 2nd adhyay, 62 and 63. Suffering begins when the mind clings to uncontrolled desires. Dhyayato vishayan pusa. Start from here. Dhyayato vishayan pusa. If one controls desires, the rest of chain collapses. But cannot, then we cannot avoid the rest of the journey. Therefore, Shri Krishna Bhagavan teaches self-awareness and disciplined living. Part number 6 of Gita, the 3 gunas. Prakriti consists of 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo. Understanding of human behavior based on these 3 gunas. Shri Krishna Bhagavan categorizes human nature into these 3 gunas of qualities. Which are those 3? Sattva guna, purity, calmness, clarity, truthfulness, harmony, and balance. This is Sattva guna. Rajasic activity, restlessness, ambition, desire, and passion. And tamas, inertia, laziness, ignorance, confusion, and delusion. These are tamasic gunas. Everyone is a mixture of these three gunas. The goal is to increase sattva, reduce rajas, and eliminate tamas, and finally rise beyond all three. So the journey starts with going more and more towards sattva guna, but ultimately the objective should be to become gunatita. Because in 14th Adhyaya, Paramatma has said how to do it, how to become gunatit. God says, Manchayo vicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati ityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. By undivided devotion, one transcends the three gunas. He becomes gunatit. Know your nature, refine your nature, transcend your nature. The Gita becomes a guide for personal transformation. It helps us to become gunatit so that we don't get bondage even by sattva guna. Because all the three gunas are binding. Even sattva guna binds us. Part number 4 of Gita, 7 of Gita, the glory of God. The seeing divinity in everything. That is the glory of God. Seeing divinity in everything. To broaden Arjuna's vision, Shri Bhagavan reveals his cosmic form, cosmic nature in 11th Adhyaya, Virat Roop. Before that, he says in 10th Adhyaya, Yaddadvibodhi matsatvam Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā bhava tattadevavagachatvam mamateshangsha sambhavam. Whatever is glorious, whatever is powerful or splendid, know it to spring from a spark of my splendor. Mamateshangsha sambhavam. Everything beautiful, strong, intelligent, creative, or majestic reflects the divine. The world becomes sacred when one sees God operating through it. This shift dissolves jealousy, hatred, and the fear. Part number 8 of Gita, the universal form. The revolutionary spiritual experience of Arjuna. The climax of Arjuna, Krishna Bhagavan's revelation occurs in chapter 11, Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga, when he unveils the Vishwarup, the cosmic form containing all universes. He says, Ekastai jagatkustam pashyadasya characharam mama dehe gudakesha yachanya drashtamicchasi. Dekh lo, jo bhi kuch hai. Behold, the entire universe, moving and non-moving, centered in my body. Arjuna sees the past, the present, and the future in that cosmic form of Lord. He sees the creation, he sees the destruction. He sees the time devouring all beings, Kal. And he also sees infinite divine manifestations. And then God announces, Kalosmi lokakshakrut pravruddho lokan samahardamiha pravruttaha Rade pitvan bhavishanti sarve yeva sadah pratyanikeshu yodaha. Time, I am the Mahakal, the destroyer of the worlds. This transforms Arjuna's understanding that divine is not limited, divine is the entire universe. With this understanding, the ego dissolves in the face of such immensity. Part number 9 of Gita is Bhakti Yoga. The sweetest and most accessible path for everybody is Bhakti Yoga. After presenting knowledge about karma, action, about meditation, Shri Krishna Bhagavan offers devotion as the most accessible path for the majority. The Gita's heart beats strongest in this Bhakti shlokas, which in 9th Adhyaya, God says, Patram pushpam balanto yume bhaktya prechati tadham bhakti varadam ashtami pretatmanaha. Arey bhai, you offer me leaf, flower, fruit, kuch nahi to pani de do chalega, water, but with devotion. I will accept it. Patram pushpam balanto yume bhaktya prechati tadham bhakti varadam ashtami pretatmanaha. And in the same Adhyaya, God has announced, Ananyashchante yanto mam yejana privasate teshan nityaviyuktana yogakshemam vahamyaham. To those who worship me with love, I personally take care of their needs. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. And in Bhakti Yoga, in 12th Adhyaya, which is Bhakti Yoga, in the Shlok 13 and 14, God has said, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karune vacho nirmamo nirankara samadukha sukakshami. And Santushta sadadam yogi yatatma dhrudha nishchaya mayarpidamano buddhir yomad bhaktasya me priyaha. They describe the qualities of true devotee: compassion, humility, forgiveness, tolerance, friendliness, self-control. Love is superior to logic. Devotion melts the hardest of mind. In bhakti, God becomes our friend, our guide, our father, our mother, our beloved. Part number 10 of Gita, ethical foundations, divine versus demonic qualities. Daivasur Sampad Vibhag Yog, you know what that is, 16th Adhyay. Shri Krishna Bhagavan devotes the entire chapter to human virtues and vices. Divine qualities, Daivi Sampatti, what are those? Fearlessness. Avayam Satta Samshuddha Jnana Vyavasthiti starts with that. So 3 shlokas, they describe the 26 Daivi Sampatti attributes: fearlessness, purity of heart, generosity, self-control, non-violence, truthfulness, serenity, compassion. And the major demonic Asuri Sampatti: arrogance, anger, harshness, hypocrisy, greed, cruelty, egoism. God says in 16th Adhyay, Tejakshamadu Teshaucha Madroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Avijatasya Bharato. Divine qualities lead to liberation, demonic qualities lead to bondage. We need to do self-inspection, self-introspection, whether we are having more of Daivi Guna or Asuri Guna. Spiritual growth requires deliberate development of virtues, Daivi Gunas. Ethics is not optional. It is the foundation of spiritual life. Part number 11th of Bhagavad Gita, faith, food, charity and lifestyle. The Gita explains even the faith, food, charity, speech can be sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Sattvic food nourishes life, purity, strength. 17th Adhyay teaches us all this. Shraddha Bhag Yoga. Rajasic food, it fuels desire and restlessness. Tamasic food increases dullness and confusion. Charity must also be sattvic, satpatridan, given selflessly at the right place at the right time to the deserving is the sattvic dan. Your habits, they shape your destiny. The Gita becomes a manual for lifestyle refinement, changing our habits so that we attain our destiny. Part number 12 of Gita, renunciation, sannyas, inner sannyas and outer sannyas. Shri Krishna Bhagavan clarifies that true renunciation is not physical withdrawal, but inner detachment. He says in 18th Adhyay, which we have studied already, Nai devrata anshaktin taktan karmani sheshita yastu kanfal atyagi satyagi itavidiyate, 11th sloka. And in 33rd Adhyay, God has said, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasya vigadajvaraha. In 18th Adhyay, when God says, Nai devrata anshaktin taktan karmani sheshita yastu kanfal atyagi satyagi itavidiyate, true renunciation is giving up attachment to the fruits of action. And in 3rd Adhyay, God has said, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhatma jitsa nirashi nirmo bhutva yuddhasya vigata jvaraha. Offer all actions to me. Act without ego, without expectation, without anxiety. You can live in the world yet remain inwardly free. That is the message we get. The Gita is not for Himalayas. It is for homes. It is for offices. It is for marketplaces. And it is for the decision tables, the decisions that we take in life. Part number 13 of Bhagavad Gita, the final secret of life is surrender, samarpan. After teaching about self-knowledge, karma, action, about devotion, bhakti, about meditation, about discipline, about ethics, and about cosmic vision, Shri Krishna Bhagavan gives the ultimate key. The shlok that we understood, heard today, we read today, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shujaha. The most important shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Abandon all other dharmas and surrender to me alone. I shall free you from all your sins. Do not fear. This is not escapism. This is not escapism. It is freedom from egoic confusion, not freedom from the responsibility. Surrender is not giving up life. It is giving up the false sense of doership. That you should surrender. Surrender brings peace, clarity, courage, trust, and inner guidance. It dissolves the karmic burden because the ego that accumulates karma, it's dissolved. Part number 14 of Gita, the transformation of Arjuna from fear to freedom. By the end of Gita, Arjuna is completely transformed. He begins with trembling body, clouded mind, emotional paralysis, moral confusion, and loss of direction. But he ends with clarity, with determination, with inner strength, with spiritual understanding, and with calm acceptance. Freedom from fear also is attained by him. His final words are Arjuna Macha Nashto Mohastir Labdhat Patprasadan Mayachito Sitosmigda Sandeha Karishye Vachanantavo. My delusion is destroyed. By your grace, I have regained my memory. I will now act according to your instructions. The Gita's success lies in teaching philosophy, not only teaching philosophy, but in transforming the human being. It does not only teach, it transforms you totally. So if we take the essence of Bhagavad Gita in 20 points, point number 1, life will place you in situations where you must take difficult choices. Life is not easy. You have to make difficult choices. Point number 2, confusion is natural. Seeking guidance and clarity is the key. Know the eternal self. It is fearless and deathless. Do your duty without attachment to results. Control the mind. Discipline leads to peace. Uncontrolled desires lead to suffering. The 3 gunas shape the behavior. Transcend those 3 gunas. Sattva-rajo-tamo. Become gunatit. See God in all beings and all greatness. Develop a cosmic perspective, never narrow. If you do that, then the narrow ego in you will get dissolved. Bhakti is the most accessible and sweetest path of attaining God. Divine virtues elevate, negative qualities enslave, put it in bondage. Lifestyle, food, speech, charity influence the mind. True renunciation is inner detachment, not withdrawal. Offer all actions to the divine. Surrender dissolves the fear. Accept life's dualities with equanimity. Samatma yoga uchyate. Ethical conduct purifies the heart. Spiritual practice must integrate into daily life. It's not a question of doing it for an hour in a week and then forgetting about it all. Every moment, every action that we take in life should have this. Spiritual practice must be integrated in daily life, not for merely reading. It should reflect in our daily behavior, in daily life. And last point, the final goal is moksha, mukti, liberation, salvation. A state of peace, joy, and God consciousness is the ultimate objective of human life. So, in conclusion, the Gita wants you to become wise like a sage, courageous like a warrior, devoted like a saint, disciplined like a yogi, calm like an ocean, compassionate like a mother, and fearless like the eternal self. It wants you to live in the world and yet remain untouched by it. Like a lotus that grows in the mud but is never tainted, never stained. Ultimately, the Gita is conversation between your confused self, that is Arjuna, and your highest self, that is Shri Krishna Bhagavan. When you listen deeply, you discover the battlefield is inside you. The teacher is inside you. The answers are inside you. And liberation is also inside you only. Just say to yourself and act upon it. What? I will not fulfill every desire of mine. I will only fulfill those desires which are focused and going to help me in reaching my ultimate goal in life. So this is the $1 million lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, today's session was pretty long, but we had to take summary of our entire Bhagavad Gita. So that's why it took a little long. Sorry for that. Now the forum is open for you to raise your questions on any of the adhyas of Bhagavad Gita from 1 to 18. Feel free to ask your questions. If you feel the time is too much now, you can reserve your questions for the next session. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. I extend
Jai
my
Shri Krishna.
heartfelt gratitude to respected Bhaiya for the wonderful and thought-provoking session. And the presentation was very enlightening. The insights were great and full of profound knowledge. Now is a question answer time. Those who have their questions, kindly raise your hands and open your videos so that we can take your questions. Yes, Anita Agarwal Didi. Anita Agarwal Didi and Sujata Didi have questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, today's explanation, not only today, every single day that I'm listening to you, it's so nice. And I'm really, really not so happy starting from next Sunday. I don't know if I will have the same sessions, but I really enjoyed your sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Didi. Thank you.
Are we going to have the classes or not after today?
Yeah, next week we'll have the Nyas. Karanyas, Hridayanyas, Prarthana, Adhyanam, those shlokas. So we'll have one more session for this.
I really enjoyed your stories and anecdotes, whatever you are giving us, it explains so well. I can really understand the meaning of the sloka. Thank you.
Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.
Anita Didi.
Yeah, Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much for enlightening sessions. We really feel blessed. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
First, who all listened to the Gita, like when he delivered this Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield? Who all were the listeners? How many listeners? Arjun, Sanjay, Dhritarashtra, Hanumanji on the Pataka.
Okay.
Then Vedvyasji also. How many people actually listened to it?
See, prominently three people. Arjuna, Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. Hanumanji was not in his physical form. He was only present with his very spiritual presence only. It was not his time to be present there physically.
Okay. And
So,
Vedvyasji?
Murshi Vedyas, he is the author, he is the main document writer of it. So he has created this document. Krishna Bhagavan has said it, but it has been documented by him. And if you remember 10th Adhyaya of Gita, all three are Krishna's vibhutis. Maharishi Vedyas is Krishna's vibhuti. Arjuna is Krishna's vibhuti. And Krishna himself is Krishna, of course. So the one who said Gita is Krishna. The one who listened Gita, Arjuna, is Krishna. The one who wrote Gita, documented it, is also Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Bhaiya. One more question. Like in all the adhyayas, even 18th, 12th, Krishna keeps saying that my devotees who do this are very priya to me, all these. And one of the chapters, I don't remember, like I hear to Vivechan sometimes randomly, any chapter. One of the chapters we were told that whether you do good things or bad, we are great devotee or thing, Krishna remains tatast. He is not attached to anyone. Like he treats everyone at par.
Yeah. That he has said that whether you do pap or punya, I am not the receiver of your pap or punya.
Yeah.
You are unnecessarily attaching it to me, but I neither received your virtuous work nor do I receive your vices. So pap and punya, this is something between you and Prakriti. I am not the receiver of it. We may say Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Does he really receive it? What we say? He does not receive anything. It is only our devotion to him that we say this, Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Shri Krishna has very clearly said in Gita that you do pap or punya, I am not the receiver of any of this. He has developed, like in IT companies, they develop a mainframe system and then he has handed over the job to Prakriti. If you do this, you get this. If you do that, you get that. Prakriti is monitoring our life. God is out of it now. God has created Prakriti. He has created human beings. He has given us the soul, his fragment, Mama Vanshu Jivaloke. Rest everything comes from Prakriti, and it is a matter between that soul which is an ansh of God, Mama Vanshu, and the Prakriti. Paramatma is out of this game now.
So, like, if we love him so much, we do the right things, and do too much of bhakti, we really love him. So he blesses us. He's attached to us, no? हम उनके प्रिय हो जाते हैं ना?
हो जाते हैं ना. That is what we read in today's last slokas, no?
Yeah.
You read
Okay.
Gita, you teach Gita, you become his very dear devotee. That is why
So,
we are,
so he is attached to us, no?
yeah, of course, attached in the sense we become a part of him.
Okay.
That is the thing.
Be-
We don't remain two entities. We become one with him. That's what he likes. He doesn't want us to treat him differently.
Okay. Because I've been studying Gita for 2 years. Second time I'm doing L4. And I do get problems because we have Prarabdha. But it seems that Krishna is carrying us through all the problems. So he's,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
He
Thank you so much.
helps us in every problem that we face on the path of spirituality.
Yeah. So he keeps helping us, no?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We feel blessed to have your visions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
I have a question from chapter 13.
Sunil
especially,
Dada, boliye.
and it's more on understanding how these different words mean, what type of God we are relating to. Basically, the Nirguna Brahma, without
Nirgun Nirakar or Sagun Sakar.
Nirgun Nirakar, then one with form, one without form and with attributes, one formless and without attributes. So in chapter 13, when I was reading Sadhak Sanjeevani, it mentions that this shloka 12 in chapter 13, Anadi Matparam Brahma na Sattan Nasa Duchyate. That is referring to the attributeless and formless God. And so, and then the next sloka, Sarvata Pani Padan Tat Sarvato Kshishiro Mukham Sarvata Shruti Malloke Sarvamarutya Tishtati. That is referring to formless and endowed with attributes. So my question is, because these words must mean specific meaning to be able to say this refers to that type of God and this refers to that type of. So I was trying to understand this, and perhaps you can elaborate.
See, in this shloka, Sarvata Panipadam, Sarvato Kritiromukam, Sarvata Shimalloke, Sarvamarti Tishtati, it gives an impression as if we are talking of Sagun Sakar form of God. He has his hands everywhere, he has his legs everywhere, he has his heads, faces everywhere, he has his ears everywhere. He is established in the entire cosmos. Sarvamarti Tishtati.
When you say Sagun, means it has attributes, right?
Sagun means it has a shape which you can see physically. Sakar.
Okay.
Which is a akar.
Because
No,
I asked this because when I in Sadhak Sanjani, the English version, it is said that this is the description of a God that is formless and endowed with attributes.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. That though this slok gives us an impression that he has the hands, he has the legs, he has the heads, he has the ears, but that does not mean he has physically all this. His Nirakar form, it has all the functions which are carried out by hands, legs, ears, nose, everything. So his form remains Nirakar only. But all these functions of Sagun Sakar are carried out by his Nirakar form. His form is Nirakar. Because in the next shloka, exactly opposite of it has been said. Sarvendrigunavasam, Sarvendrivarjitam, Asaktam Sarvavrityeva, Nirgunam Gurvattuja. So earlier he said, Sarvada Panipadam, Sarvada Kshishuromukam, Sarvada Shruti Malloke, Sarvamati Shriti. And now this Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. He has no Indriya. Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Earlier shloka was talking of he is having all Indriyas. Hands, legs, ears, nose, everything is having. But next shloka says Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. So that means these two shlokas talk about the Nirgun Nirakar form of God. His Nirgun Nirakar form he carries out all the functions of Sagun Sakar. Ultimately, Paramatma is Nirgun Nirakar only. He takes manifested form only when Yada Yada Dharmacya. Otherwise, he is normally in Nirgun Nirakar form only. So wherever in Bhagavad Gita, wherever Krishna has said, me, my, aham, that is all the Sagun Sakar. That is Krishna talking as a person, Krishna. But wherever he talks of Brahma, Parabrahma, that is in Nirgun Nirakar. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has two roles. One is friend of Arjuna sitting next to him and talking about his personal things. Aham. Aham is me. That means he is talking about personal Krishna. But when he's talking some divine things, those shlokas are about the Nirgun Nirakar now. So we have to understand from the context of shloka whether this shloka is belonging to Nirgun Nirakar description of God or the Sagun Sakar form, that is Krishna.
So all
Context
these
defined.
shlokas, so all
Ah.
these shlokas from 12 through 16, they are all
Yeah.
for Nirgun Nirakar.
Nirgun Nirakar. See, basically Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga is basically for devoting ourselves to the Nirgun Nirakar only. 12th Adhyay, Arjuna had said, Evam Satati Yukta Bhakta Pariwar, all that. So,
Right.
which yogi is superior? The one who worships your Sagun Sakar or the one who worships your Nirgun Nirakar? What I said, Maya Vishamanayama Nitya Yukta Pasate Shadaya Paraveda. So, one who worships my Sagun Sakar is good, is better.
So
But that does not
when
mean
you
that the
say
one who does
sorry,
not, who prays or who worships this Nirgun Nirakar, he doesn't become inferior, but it is kleshodikrastesham, very problematic. What should we bring in front of our eyes when we do Nirgun Nirakar? Nothing is coming in front of our eyes. But this Adhyay, 30th Adhyay, is a unique Adhyay in Bhagavad Gita which teaches us how to come out of I am body, I am mind, I am intellect feeling. Because the main hurdle in worshipping God in his Nirgun Nirakar is our I am body feeling. We are having body and the one we are worshipping, he has no body. When we are worshipping Sagun Sakar, we have a body, he has a body. So it is matching. Okay, we can identify with him. But when we are having body and he has no body, how to match it? So this Adhyay teaches us how to come out of I am body feeling. That's why God has given 20 things in this Adhyay. Amanitvam, Mitvam, Visak, Shanti, Rajavam, Acharya, Pasanam, Shaucham, Sermatmingra. 20 tools to how to come out of this I am body feeling. Asakti Ravishwanga, Puttadaraga, Disho, Nityam, Shitam, Vishtanishto, Papadisho. And God said,
Indriyartheshu Vairagya.
in the earth way. So, and ultimately, he has said after giving these 20 tools that this is the knowledge. Adhyatmana Tattvam Tattadhyana Darshanam Etajnani Proktam Adhyana Yadadanita. Baki sab Adhyane. These 20 things which teach you how to come out of I am body feeling is the real Dhyan. Rest everything is Adhyan. Adhyana Yadadanita. So this Adhyay is basically for worshipping the Nirgun Nirakar form of God. 13th Adhyay.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you.
Shravanti Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Your
Yes, you.
teachings are very nice. Actually, I'll be waiting for the weekend to listen your sessions.
Okay.
And one question I had that you clarified just now, like whether the Saguna worshipping the god in Saguna format or Nirguna Nirukar, there is no comparison, right? Like it is not like one thing is superior than other. Like in
There is nothing.
few, there is no because in few meditation centers they will say worshipping form is lesser and worshipping in Nirguna Nirakar is superior than worshipping in the form of idols. That is no, that
See,
is not true.
Bhagavad Gita does not say that one who worships my Nirgun Nirakar is superior. On the
There
contrary, it
is,
says, Maya Vishwana Nitya. That means who worships my Sagun Sakar is superior. So whether
okay,
we some worshipping is necessary, whether you worship Sagun Sakar or Nirgun Nirakar, do something. That is what Krishna says in Gita. Don't sit
okay,
idle. You can
correct.
do Sagun Sakar or Nirgun Nirakar, whatever. He has given us all the options and all the knowledge in Gita. You want to pursue Nirgun Nirakar? Okay, study at that 13. Kshetra Bhava Gyog. Know yourself as a Kshetrajna, not Kshetra. If you are considered you as a Kshetra, then follow the 12th Adhyay, Bhakti Yoga. So
Okay.
all doors are open. We can take the door through which you really want to enter.
Okay. Sure. And one anubhav I got actually when I listened to the when I chant these shlokas that in the like when I was working as a trainer, when I was chanting these shlokas, I could experience some air is going through some Sahasrara chakra. I did not, is there any that will happen? Like I do yoga on daily basis also, pranayama and all these practices. And whenever I read shlokas, Bhagavad shlokas, I experience some air is flowing through some Sahasrara chakra.
This happens.
That
Many people
happens.
experience this. I experience it sometimes, not always, but
Yeah, me also
happens.
sometimes.
It happens when when you are deeply in love with the God. There is no other thought coming to your mind, and your pronunciation is perfectly well as per Pranini grammar. Your visarga, aghat, raspa, dirgha is perfectly well. When these two things resonate, they match in your mind. The pronunciation part of it, which has a magical effect, and secondly, the emotional part of it. When your emotions and your devotion both come together, that kind of feeling of vibration that you experience, it happens.
Okay.
It does happen. That's why I normally say those who read, do Gita Parayan, they should keep one chair empty in front of them. They're sitting on chair and reading Gita, or sitting maybe on the ground floor, on the floor. But one asana should be kept vacant in front of them, because we don't know when the God will come and occupy that and listen to our Gita Patan. So we should always believe that whatever I am doing, God is listening to me. That Shraddha we should have. That Shraddha we should have. That I am reading Gita and Krishna is listening my Gita.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Vikas.
Thank you.
No more questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Priya, for the wonderful question answer round and for sharing all your expressions. It's our challenge to practice and apply the learning imparted by you in our daily lives. I would like to thank each and every one of the sadhakas for attending this session. I also thank for the hardworking, very vigilant technical team for their continuous efforts in making this session a great success. Now it is the time to offer the prayer once again in the lotus feet of Sri Hari. For the prayer, I would like to invite Nimisha Patel ji from Vadodara, Gujarat. She's a computer engineer and she's educated at Master of Computer Applications. Her hobbies are reading spiritual and religious texts. She joined Geeta Pariwar in June 2023 and she's giving seva in the calling department. Jai Shri Krishna Didi.
जय श्री कृष्ण योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण
Thank you, Didi, for this wonderful prayer. Now is the time for the Hanuman Chalisa.
गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोज जस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कभी को बिन कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब वीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।